sind die Prinzessin aus teuflischen Klauen. Dazu müsst ihr den Drachen die Rübe abhauen.
Awesome!
What? Scary place, real scary place. But cute little animals.
Meow, meow, meow.
Oh, there it is. What does it say? Let's see, what does it say? Go up there and press A. That's interesting. Yes! Oh boy, I gotta try this.
Meow, meow,
It's gonna be awesome.
meow.
Yeah, it is awesome for cutting grass. Excuse me, young lady. Would you like me to cut your grass? Mow your lawn?
Oh,
No, mowing your lawn. That's what I said. People do that, right? Good day, young lady, woman, man, whatever you are. Would you like me to... I suppose not. You guys wanna join in? Join the grass cutting fun? Whoopsie daisies. Hey there, chicken guys. How's it going?
3, 2, 1, go!
What the... What? Oh my... Hey, psst, could you come over here for a second? Yeah, what is it? In there. You see the guy in the corner? Yeah, what about him? Seems to be playing some game. Yep, he is. And he also enjoys talking about this kind of stuff. About this kind of stuff? You know, video games. Huh, and stuff. Is that so? Yeah, he used to tell these stories around games that he likes. You know, I don't. But it's been a while. He took a break or something. Or I don't know what he did. Only that last time I heard from him, he was all into that game in there.
Oh my, what game would that be?
Revolution.
Everything okay? Yeah, I'm fine actually. But you know what bugs me? In all this time, he still hasn't told anyone anything about us yet. Huh. Then maybe he just doesn't like us that much. Yeah, maybe. What a nutcase.
Actually, I do like Zelda games. But it's also true that they didn't exactly catch my interest at first. Or at least the original one didn't.
You mean you haven't played it yet? We can play it on my Nintendo Entertainment System.
The Nintendo Entertainment System. Your parents help you hook it up.
No, don't worry. I have played that. As well as many Zelda games that followed. Some of them I hold very dear. And that's probably to be expected, right? Or maybe it's just me, but again and again I seem to stumble upon tales from people who say they played the original Zelda when it came out and fell in love with video games, thanks to this one magical, eye-opening game. But my history with Zelda, or especially with the first game, hasn't been that straightforward. In fact, it really took a while until something clicked and I thought, Zelda games are actually a lot of fun. Who knew? and I want to share a bit of that wake-up experience.
Oh?
I want to talk about the Zelda games that got me hooked and how I came to know and play and enjoy them. Like so many Nintendo memories, this one starts with subscribing to Club Nintendo in the last months of 1991, when I was about 10 years old. And just a few weeks after having filled out that subscription card, I received not only the latest issue, but a welcoming first few of their magazines. And going through those pages must have been the first time I learned a bit about this Legend of Zelda.
Whoa, nice graphics! I'd like to get my hands on that game.
But strangely, no. As far as I remember, the coverage of this game didn't seem to do much for me.
See, I told ya, nutcase.
Although even back then I suspected that I might be missing something here.
Zelda!
That this game was actually a thing.
Zelda! Zelda!
And it was. In America they even had a few infamous TV commercials. Like the one with the nerdy guy and the cool kid.
It's the Legend of Zelda, and it's really rad. Those creatures from Ganon are pretty bad. Octorok's Tektites levers too. But with your help, our hero pulls through. Yeah, go Link, yeah, get Zelda. Awesome!
But I suppose whoever saw that might not have gotten too good an idea what the Legend of Zelda actually was. The Legend of Zelda was a Nintendo game released in Japan in early 1986. It took more than 1 year and a half before it finally came to America and Europe. I certainly didn't know anything about that at the time. I was about 6 years old then and had probably never even noticed Nintendo. But this game was meant to be noticed, cause unlike most other game boxes, this one had a little window that let you peek inside, which revealed that the game came on a golden cartridge, so it appeared to be something special right away. But was it? What was so special about this? Well, to make this tangible, let's take a look what most other games on the Nintendo Entertainment System were like around that time. The first ones I ever got to play do make good examples. As you might already know, they were Ice Climber, Tennis, Punch-Out and RC Pro-Am. These games were very much inspired by those made for coin-operated or so-called arcade cabinets back then. Just like casually walking up to such a machine, dropping some coins and having a go, you could easily pick up and start playing these Nintendo games, and most others too. Usually with little explanation necessary. Maybe you didn't quite get a grip on the controls at first, but it was at least obvious what your game expected of you. What do you do in this game with cars in it? Right, driving would be a start. What do you do in Ice Climber? What do you... Okay, I suppose I don't even have to... And in Punch Out. Punch Out. Obvious enough, right? And just like arcade games, they were highly competitive. Your main goal, if it wasn't just plain winning, was to play well enough to get a high score in the end. I mean, a high score. And maybe even enter your initials with it. And there's nothing wrong with that. Arcade games can be deep and fun and totally legit. The point here is just that the certain other game was straying pretty far from this established, well-understood formula. It was far from obvious how to win at this game. and its appeal wasn't so much about beating someone's high score or exercising your twitchy finger skills, even if the TV commercial suggested otherwise. You were playing a boy named Link. Well, unless you did name him something else. Or violated his name.
Not cool.
But the important part is that he set out to rescue the princess, of course. Because that screams original, right?
Yeah, it may not be original, but I do appreciate being rescued every now and then.
Now, to rescue this princess, named Zelda by the way, you had to find the 8 fragments of a magical item called the Triforce of Wisdom. Those were necessary to enter the place where the princess was held hostage. Because obviously, ones who does not have Triforce can't go in. And story-wise, they were needed to defeat Ganon, the Prince of Darkness, who had imprisoned the princess in the first place, and who no one had ever seen. Surely an intriguing mystery in those pre-internet days. Yeah, sure, it could have been the backstory set up for any kind of generic game, but after misnaming your character and pressing start, you were in for a few surprises. You started out in the middle of a field on a huge grid-like map. Full of forests and lakes and mountains and monsters everywhere. But you were unarmed. Pressing your A or B buttons didn't do anything. All you could do was move, and move you could. You were free to leave the starting screen and just wander off. But you probably ran into trouble pretty soon. And died. And restarted at the same location. And still no advice, no hints, no nothing. You were probably wondering what you were supposed to do. Punch. By now you would have surely taken a look at the instruction booklet, which informed that each of the 8 Triforce pieces was hidden away in a dedicated underground dungeon, or level. It was up to you to find the entrances to these levels. And to get you going, there was a whole how to get to level 1 tutorial section. A few pages further, you even got a little support on where to find level 2. This was definitely more help than you could have expected.
Hey!
But even with this comprehensive manual / guidebook and an additional flyer with a partial map of the land on one side and some additional strategies on the other, Nintendo still feared that players would be alienated by this strange game. So when releasing it in America, they also created a free phone hotline, dedicated to answer your Zelda questions.
Special Nintendo phone hotline, dedicated to answer your Zelda questions. How can I help you? I cannot, nothing, please, I cannot, nothing. Yeah, don't worry, we get that a lot.
Now, even if you didn't turn to your phone or the manual for some first step advice, you would have noticed sooner or later that there was a dark spot on the mountain wall, right in the screen you started at, and that it was actually resembling a cave that you were supposed to enter. Once in there, 2 lines of now famous text appeared, and you got a wooden sword. Amazing, right? But you might just wonder, if having a sword was so essential, why not just have it from the start? I mean, you don't start a game like RC Pro-Am with a broken car either. But here it's almost funny how this first act of yours already captures a bit of the game's spirit. As if this whole go get the sword yourself beginning was actually a friendly gesture, an invitation to get curious and go explore on your own. Because there were quite a few other things to discover right away. Sure, you could follow the manual and go straight to level 1. With just this wooden sword and only 3 hearts. You could just roam around a bit and fight some monsters and pick up some money. Or bombs. And go bomb some walls. Or just walk right through them, discover secret caves. Pay the door repair charge. I'm pretty sure there was no door. Play money-making game. I'm not good at money-making game. Get a blue piece of paper. Show it to the old woman. Buy some medicine. Wake up some statues. Buy a candle. Use it to burn down bushes. Get even more money, which is always a secret to everybody. Except you and me, of course. Then maybe even double your health. Almost there. Get a better sword, buy a better shield, maybe even some arrows already, and a new extra protective tunic. Then enter level 1. Then pretty much slaughter everything in sight. Or not even complete the first level first, but just go look for the third or second one, do them and come back later. Cause most of the levels you didn't even have to do in order, and most of the map was accessible right from the start. It wasn't always advisable to go wherever you could, since you could get yourself into a lot of trouble, but you couldn't just go anywhere anyway. Not only because it would have been unlikely that you were strong enough to handle the onslaught, but because part of your progression was item driven, meaning that there were some deliberate roadblocks that required you to have a certain treasure from a specific underworld level. For example, you couldn't get to level 4 without the raft, which had to be found in level 3 first. But you also couldn't make your way across those gaps that were in every dungeon after level 3 without the step ladder, which in turn had first to be found in level 4. And in some levels, the bigger enemies that you encountered were only vulnerable to a certain item as well. So after all, there were a few constraints as to what you needed to have in order to complete or even enter some of the later levels, but you still had a lot of freedom. Those roadblocks weren't that restrictive. Except for the ultimate roadblock, of course. You needed to have all 8 Triforce fragments before you could get into level 9, face Ganon,
Who no one had ever seen.
and call it a day.
Your parents help you hook it up.
So needless to say that there was a lot of game here. You could even start again after your first playthrough, and the game would give you a second quest, with different item and dungeon locations, even different dungeon layouts. As you might suspect, you weren't supposed to play through all of this in just one sitting. No, this was the very first game cartridge with a battery in it, that let you save your progress and then continue your quest some other time. Yes, this was a thing, cause in those days it was still overwhelmingly common that you just lost all scores and progress of a game if you turned off the console. But not here. Putting out this game was huge. It was as if Nintendo was saying, we want to bring you fresh, unique, original games that you're not getting anywhere else and that are gonna rock your world and blow your mind. So that's the Legend of Zelda. But I knew none of that. All I had were my trusty Club Nintendo magazines and little interest in this game, remember?
Yeah, I do, and that's just sad.
So why am I talking about the game that I wasn't into at all? Well, that just happened. When I started writing this video, I only wanted to cover the 2 Zelda games that I have the fondest memories of. But then I thought, if I'm gonna do this and state something about anything Zelda, especially on the internet, I better go fill in the gap and play the original, at least a bit more. Yes, I realize I've had this on my still to play list for quite some time now.
You think?
Yeah, sure, I had fiddled around with the game every now and then, but always just a few minutes without ever making a lot of progress. Not so much this time. I fired it up, got pretty into it, and kept playing this for a while.
Whoop, didn't see that one coming.
And it was surprising playing it in this day and age, and being only familiar with the more recent Zelda games. So at some point while playing through this, I noticed, whoa, I kinda wanna talk about this game too. And why not? Makes a good starting point anyway. Plus, there's probably a few people watching who, just like me, started with later Zelda games, but would enjoy hearing about the game that started it all, and what it's like to play it these days, almost 30 years after its release. So there you have it, that's why I'm talking about this game. And of course I still want to get to the Zelda titles that got me into anything Zelda in the first place. But next time, instead of jumping straight into these stories, I will finish up this one and share some impressions from my recent endless adventure with the first game.
Oh, nice. There's even gonna be more videos on us, see? Yeah, that's quite nice, I guess. If it isn't gonna take another 1 or 2 years.